excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of Kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of Kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Some 500 Nusra Front militants, accompanied by 7 tanks and about 30 pickup trucks armed with mounted heavy machine guns, launched 3 major offensives against government troops in Idlib province on Wednesday, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. The Mind Unleashed reports the counterattack focused on the town of Kafr Nabada, which was recently captured by the Syrian government. Militants also launched a missile attack on a Russian airbase on Wednesday, but 9 of the missiles were shot down and another 8 did not reach their target. Northwest Syria, which runs along Syria's border with Turkey, is home to the last remaining rebel strongholds, including a swath of land dominated by the al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front, which has adopted a new name, Tahrir al-Sham. The increase in shelling in the region has led to the displacement of 180,000 people. A far-right Venezuelan opposition activist emailed a death threat to human rights activists from the peace group Code Pink. Midpress News reports the threat was delivered when Code Pink was helping to protect the Venezuelan government's embassy in Washington, D.C. from an illegal takeover by Juan Guaido's U.S.-backed coup administration. The rapid opposition activist, who is also a staunch supporter of Donald Trump, previously served as a machine gunner for the U.S. Marine Corps and was in the U.S. military reserves until this March. He was also on the Colombia-Venezuelan border with violent opposition activists, working with an ostensible aid group run by coup leader Juan Guaido during a failed U.S.-backed push in February. On May 2nd, Luis Medina sent Code Pink an email with the subject line, quote, warning some Venezuelans may do something, end quote. In the message, the opposition fanatic identified as a Venezuelan-born U.S. Marine veteran. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Shortly after having sexual intercourse with a prostitute earlier this afternoon, local man Jacob Reynolds told reporters that he never expected the experience would bring him to new heights of emotional and spiritual fulfillment.
I was convinced that having sex with a complete stranger behind my wife's back would leave me feeling drained and empty on the inside, but my self-esteem is through the roof.
Reynolds, who said he paid $150 for a 30-minute block of time, said that his moderate expectations for the encounter were instantly surpassed by what turned out to be a deeply personal sexual communion that transported him to a new plane of emotional intimacy.
I've never felt a stronger sense of spiritual connection. When our bodies met, there was an immediate sense of familiarity and comfort that just washed over me. I think it was the most meaningful experience of my life.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
That's right, it is Free Talk Live, and you are free to call in and talk live here on the airwaves. That's what we do here on Free Talk Live. That's why we call it Free Talk Live, and we welcome you. It's Mark with you.
And Angie. Jay
is running a little late, but he'll get in here in the near future. But Angie, you brought in some show prep. It's one of these things that's near and dear to my heart, or at least somewhere near my heart, and it's men and vasectomies.
Yes, men and vasectomies, because women are usually the ones that take care of this end of their relationship.
Right.
They prevent most of the time the pregnancies, the unwanted children, but why can't men do it?
The costs, I would say the short answer to that is the costs to having children is higher to women than it is to men, right?
Absolutely.
Like so therefore, it sort of ends up that way. Like when it comes to cleaning the bedroom, my wife's threshold for what is messy is higher or lower, depending on how you describe it, than mine is.
Oh, of course.
So I can sleep. Whatever. It's fine. It hasn't been a week since we changed the sheets. 10 days is okay, right? Like, not for her, for me, and thus that means that she ends up having to shoulder the burden because it's either clean it up or have me clean it up, which is probably nearly as much work. This is what they call emotional labor in the feminist movements. So, nonetheless. I think that's the reason for it. I think, however, that a vasectomy is a really easy form of birth control.
Oh, I can't disagree. Women, if they get their tubes tied, it's very invasive.
Right. Well, it's an operation, and women die from
absolutely. And then there's tubal pregnancy,
ligation,
and then there's all kinds of complications. And from what I've heard, I don't know, a vasectomy is an outpatient surgery. You go in, they take care of it, and then you go and sit on a donut.
Right. So I didn't even have the donut. So what happened for me? I'll give you the short story. I can't remember how many years ago this was, but I guess it was shortly after my son was born. He's 11. Mm-hmm. You can get some idea there. So we'll call it 10 and a half years ago. And it was here in Keene, New Hampshire, right where we are. We're doing the studio in the studios here, Keene, New Hampshire. And I went to the doctor's office. I know approximately where it is. I've only been there once, not high. And they told me, we get you scheduled, and here's a script for 2. I think it was these minor drugs. I think it was a Vicodin or something. Yeah. I don't know what it was. It wasn't something really totally fancy.
Okay.
The kind of thing that party girls take for the week, just to start their weekend off. This thing put me out. Right? So I take it beforehand like I'm supposed to. I show up at the office. I think they may have had me take something else there to make sure I didn't do anything. I don't remember any of it. I remember being in a room like, something's happening or something. And I don't have positive or negative feelings about it because I have no feelings about it. I barely remember what happened. Here's what I remember. I remember going to the office, and I remember my father-in-law taking me to Kentucky Fried Chicken afterwards, and that I said, "This is the best chicken I've ever had in my life." Right? Okay. So this is what that's the sum total of my experience in the operation. After that, there's swelling, gentlemen, for about 3 days.
Okay.
And
swelling to uncomfortable to put your clothes on, or swelling?
No.
Okay.
I work from home. So maybe you would have to. Maybe you could look at more comfortable pants for work that day or something. I'm not entirely sure. Everybody's life's different, but I just had some. My wife made sure that I had some ice to, try to take care of some swelling or whatever. I'm terrible about ice. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. I'm probably completely wrong here, and everybody out there that works in the medical field's like, yeah, you're an idiot, but whatever. I don't like ice, so I'll sit on it, but I won't sit on the right way, and all this stuff happens.
Yep.
And there was certainly swelling, and then the swelling went down after about 3 days, and life was almost entirely back to normal by day 5.
Okay.
And I can't remember exactly, but it was like somewhere 3 weeks out or a month out. I had to provide a specimen.
Yep.
First time I've ever been encouraged by my wife to provide this particular type of a specimen. Go on in there and take care of this. Like, no help. And
you're on your own, buddy.
Right. All right. Well, I am an expert. So I provide the specimen, and they test the specimen to make sure that the operation took. Up until that point, we had to use condoms, which I cannot tell you how much that bothers me, but nonetheless, we had to do that. And then after the specimen was tested and we got results back that there were no swimmers, no live swimmers, that we could go back to, that we could go to, sort
unprotected,
of what we were hoping for, right? Unprotected sex. And my, sitting here 10 years out, I think that it makes a man, more attractive. Because there's none of this figure in whether or not this thing happened or that thing happened.
Yep.
Did I take this pill?
Am I ovulating?
Right.
Yeah.
There's none of that calculation going in to the whole scenario. So, that's good. It's one fewer thing to keep you from having the sex that you want to have. So I'm supportive. Now, if you think you want to have more children, obviously this is going to be a complication, but
and you guys were certain you were done. You were like, okay.
I was absolutely certain. I probably would have been able to be talked into a vasectomy before that.
Okay.
It was about $600 10 years ago. I'm going to presume that it hasn't gone up too much, but
I think the price that we were quoted was like $1,000.
Okay.
So not terrible.
All right. And, when you start comparing $1,000 to child support payments.
Or the care of a child.
Or any of those things. Yeah. But even all the healthcare checks and the prescriptions and going to the store and all those things, I think it evens out pretty quickly at about 3 years. And I'm supportive of a vasectomy generally. You have to know that you don't want to have any more children, but I was never really a big proponent of having children in the first place. My wife demanded children, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll do that. And I think it was a good idea. Yeah. Life has been good as a result, but that's what she wanted, and that's what we did. And then afterwards, she didn't care anymore, so I'm like, okay, that's time for that vasectomy we were talking about. So I was
ready
for it. And I have friends who have them, and I just don't hear anything about negative effects. I know that some people think that there'll be a hormonal effect, and there's not.
Okay, that's good to know.
So sex drive isn't decreased in any way, other than getting older. Those are the only hormonal effects I've had, but they don't seem to. I don't believe them to be in any way different than anything else. So.
And when women go on birth control, they have their tubes tied. There's huge hormonal effects.
Right. Right, so you've got hormonal effects in attitude, and they're gaining weight, and they're like, do you want the pills that make your significant other uglier, or do you want to do the thing that just makes you more attractive?
Yeah, or you have to use a condom.
Right.
Those are your options.
Right.
Well, the article that I pulled up today was from the New York Times, and it just goes on and talks about men and not wanting to get vasectomies.
Yeah.
It starts off with that March is March Madness, because most men schedule their vasectomies then so that they can sit on the couch with a bag of peas on that area and watch the NCAA men's basketball tournament.
I hadn't considered the notion, but I can see why. It's going on the whole month, daytime, nighttime, all that stuff.
It gives them that excuse to stay out of work and sit on the couch and watch basketball.
Yep, gotcha.
Continues, it says, let me explain. Every year, men schedule their vasectomies in conjunction with the NCAA men's basketball tournament so they can watch the games while recovering on the couch. In fact, at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, so many men sign up for vasectomies during March Madness that appointments reach max capacity, said Dr. Tobias, a urologist and men's health expert at the medical center who has observed the phenomenon ever since he was attending the physicians a decade ago.
So even though a study last year found a peak in the number of vasectomies during March, and also at the end of the year during the holidays.
During the holidays.
Right. Most men in this country don't opt for sterilization. They rely on their female partners to prevent pregnancy.
Yes. There you go, and it's up to the women.
How do you feel about that? You've had at least one male partner that I know of.
Yes, and I am not a big proponent of condoms. I don't like taking birth control because it makes me crazy.
What don't you like about condoms?
I don't like the feeling.
Okay,
I would prefer skin-to-skin contact.
Gotcha. And birth control makes you grumpy.
I gain weight. I'm ill. I'm get acne. It's horrible.
Right, the whole deal.
Yes.
Everything that goes with taking birth control. Your thoughts, 855-450-3733, 855-450-FREE is in Free Talk Live.
Are you concerned that the values that made America great are no longer taught in schools? Well, I am, so I got my son the Tuttle Twins children's book series.
My name is Jack, and I'm 11, and I just finished the Tuttle Twins series. It taught me about liberty, free market economics, and entrepreneurship.
Give all the young people in your life a chance at reason and clear thought, because they're not going to get it at school. There are 9 books in the series, and each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting elsewhere. Go to TuttleTwins.com and use coupon code FTL to get 40% off. That's TuttleTwins.com. I believe the crypto winter is over. That, if true, means that crypto prices may be on the rise and more news will be on the horizon. Get the latest and freshest crypto news at news.bitcoin.com. They have a real staff that does real reporting, not the rehash stuff you're getting from most crypto news outlets. I am proud and happy to say that news.bitcoin.com is my first stop for all news crypto related. News.bitcoin.com. Don't forget that you can get a free Bitcoin Cash wallet and free Bitcoin Cash at free.bitcoin.com. Free crypto at free.bitcoin.com.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in and talk about, well, we're talking about vasectomies. And I guess their relationship to March Madness. It's Mark with you.
Jay.
And Angie.
And the New York Times here is drawing the conclusion that because vasectomies go up during March, that somehow that's related to March Madness. And I don't entirely disagree with them, but I don't entirely agree with them either. I mean,
well, March Madness would be like, I don't know, Fork Fest for us.
Yeah, sure.
For most normies. I mean, I can't just understand sitting there watching sports ball for, other than it's like if my little brother or sister's playing, that's about the only sports ball I'm into.
And yelling at the TV for your team, that drives me crazy when people do that.
Yeah, I don't yell at TV for any reason. I don't even have a TV to yell at.
Why don't you explain to people what Fork Fest is?
Well, Fork Fest is going to be a gathering of libertarian-minded folks in Rogers Campground up in Lancaster, New Hampshire. So if you'd like to maybe make your own steel bottle opener, you want to have your kids come and make a little coat hook, they can do that. And for some of the teenage kids, they can make a more complex coat hook.
That's the thing you're doing, man camp.
And yes,
Fork Fest is just a camping event, and there's a bunch of people doing a bunch of different things because, these people that go up there are active, and, they want to do different things. I'm sure people will doing sports stuff, too.
So, they'll have like some
swimming and,
that cornhole thing will be out there. I don't really call that a sport, but
hiking.
I'll be working out.
Right. Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians this summer from June 13th to June 18th for Fork Fest 2019 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains in New Hampshire. Fork Fest happens right before the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and Fork Fest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket costs. Just reserve your camping or RV site or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 13th through 18th. You can simply relax and go camping with other like-minded liberty lovers, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning on an event for Fork Fest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with other Fork Festers via the unofficial Telegram chat or the Fork Fest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. That's forkfest.party. And the thing about this is Forkfest is interesting is the fact that it is totally decentralized. So it is an excellent experiment how, people can just, from all over the place, can just get together and have a good time without anybody, regulating it or controlling it or scheduling it. And I'm going to have a little schedule for my thing, and Alt Expo's got a little schedule for their thing they're doing. And there's all kinds of fun things going on. Get on that Forkfest chat on Telegram if you have any interest at all, and just go through and read the stuff. There's great stuff going on.
So, Angie, continue here with this article where the New York Times is talking about vasectomies and March Madness. And I see here that we just sort of stopped at, and we're talking about men and relying on their female partners to prevent the pregnancies most of the time. And that doesn't always go the way you want, gentlemen.
No.
You want a job done right.
Do it yourself.
You got to do it yourself.
In the United States, female sterilization is twice as prevalent as vasectomies, according to the 2015 estimates from the United Nations.
So you're saying that tubal ligations are twice as common as a vasectomy?
That's correct.
I'm really stunned at that. A tubal ligation is a much more invasive operation and has far more dangers too. You're talking about, a being with internal sex organs getting their abdomen cut open through the wall of their what do they call abs? Abdominal muscles, right? Cut through the abdominal muscles in such a fashion that they're going in and then they're tying the tubes and.
Now, a lot of times when they have this procedure done, they do it in conjunction with like a cesarean. So they're having a baby, they're cutting open them anyway. So they say, oh, well, we can tie your tubes. So it's everything's already open.
Yeah, so with a cesarean, they're becoming much more common for a variety of reasons. Some good, some bad, right? Like cesareans aren't as dangerous of an operation as they used to be. But also, doctors are kind of planning their vacations around their pregnancies, so they're cutting women open rather than letting natural childbirth
They're
occur.
not even trained on delivering breached babies anymore.
That seems bad.
Yes, that's what they told me when I had my second child was that, we're not trained to deliver breached babies, so we have to deliver him by cesarean.
Wow. I'm kind of surprised at that, but, I'm surprised at a lot of things in life.
Well, those cesareans, they pay for a lot of things. It's possibly a nice car payment for the doctor, and I'm sure it's like an emergency thing, so it's even worth more than the idea is to extract all you can out of any particular service in most industries. And since we have this highly regulated medical industry, just charging the absolute max for whatever thing, $100 aspirin, whatever. This is why I guess a birth can cost like $25,000 or $30,000 if
easily
things happen. Maybe $50,000 if you have a C-section, right?
So I guess that's where these tubal ligations come into play. It's like, hey, we got you under. And a lot of women can plan ahead on C-sections because once you've had one, then you have to have them.
No,
Well,
that is not correct. I had one, but I did not have one with my last child.
But you had to fight the doctor over it.
Nope. They say that if you have not had a C-section for 2 years, that you are safe to deliver vaginally.
Excellent. So maybe that was just the old school way of describing it.
Because they thought it would split and there would be issues.
I'm just going to go ahead and say you know more about giving birth than I do. And when these ladies, have had a chance to think about it and they're like, oh, do I want that tubal ligation? Maybe I do. I can see that part. Whereas, but as far as the vasectomy went, more or less, it cost me 1 day of work.
Now, how hard is it to reverse a vasectomy?
I think they're probably. I guess it's probably easier to reverse a vasectomy than it is to reverse a tubal ligation, simply because you're still talking about external sex organs.
Okay.
But my understanding of the numbers when I got it done was it was like $600 and something, so $700 to get my vasectomy, and going to be something like $12,000 to get it undone.
Oh goodness!
So it's not the kind of thing you don't want to do this as a temporary form of birth control,
right.
And it's quite possible that they just can't do it. Scar tissue would build up and those kind of things.
I got a friend about 4 years ago, and he said he had to kick in $8,000 to get his vasectomy
undone.
Reversed.
Yep.
And it was successful. He had a kid. I think actually 2 kids.
Okay.
And then, but there was like insurance covered an amount of it.
Oh, really?
So it was probably like 10 or 12,000 or something. But he had to kick in. Pretty sure he told me $8,000 or something. I don't remember, but it worked. It worked for him.
Yeah. The other thing that you can consider is that if you think you might want to have children, there's a couple of options for you besides trying to reverse a vasectomy. Yeah. There's the option of putting some sperm in a sperm bank. These places exist. Mm-hmm. They may not be close to you, but they exist. Generally men are carrying sperm around with them, but once you cut the tubes, then they're not as accessible as they were. So, and there's also adoption. Lots of kids in the world need places to live.
But that's so expensive.
There's some kids that aren't expensive, but they're often troubled. 855-450-3733. 855-450. Free as in Free Talk Live.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com. Or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
Who told you to go this way? You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. You're welcome to call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. If you're listening to Free Talk Live, well, if it's between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time, or 1900 and 2200 hours Eastern Time, wherever you are, you can call into Free Talk Live and talk about whatever you want. Now, you may be listening in a delayed broadcast mode or whatever is going on, but we're here for you in those time frames. The number is 855-450-3733. We're talking about vasectomies and just sort of everything that goes around that. It's Mark with you.
Jay.
And Angie.
855-450-3733. Guys, before we go on, I want to get Sarah in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, so it's good news. You know, Sandia Labs.
What?
The Sandia Labs in New Mexico.
Not familiar with it.
Nuclear bomb people. You know,
Is that like the Los Alamos underground laboratory?
Yeah, that's it. Los Alamos, Sandia Labs. That's right. They're the one that developed nuclear bombs.
Yeah, I have an uncle that used to work there.
I'm familiar with the place, Los Alamos.
Well, they're going to hire 1,900 more new workers.
How far is that from a populated area?
Popular. I really don't know the geographics. Maybe like 50 miles from Albuquerque or something.
Okay.
Sandia. Okay. So, your uncle knows your uncles work there, so they develop bombs, right? That's their major focus, right?
Yeah, he's actually an electrical engineer. Well, he'd be my grandmother's brother, so he's like my second uncle. So he's
I think it's your great uncle, grandmother's brother.
Yeah, great uncle maybe. Yeah, he's like he's like 77 right now, but 2 summers ago we hung out with him for a few days, and he was telling us all about it. And he's been retired for like 15 years.
Well, you know something? I just hope that we could get our red light cameras back here in Albuquerque.
How did you manage to couple these two things?
Well, because they're brainy people. These are engineers that got these jobs. The more brains that we keep instead of brain drain, we always get this brain drain. All the college people, they just leave out of our state.
But won't engineers be more likely to look at the statistics behind red light cameras and see that they're they cause more traffic accidents than they solve, and thus not want them?
Well, I just think that we will have better traffic safety if we have more brainy people, and plus
that's probably
we still
true.
have a Cold War.
I think that people might make better decisions if they have a higher IQ or something like that. I don't know. I don't work with engineers.
That's correct. And also, we have a Cold War. So they're afraid of the 2 nuclear jets in Venezuela, right? And then
I don't know anything about nuclear
of,
jets.
The Russians building up their nuclear. They're known to have nuclear bomb weapons, so they want to build up ours.
Venezuela needs nuclear bombs so they don't get the crap bombed out of them by the U.S. I mean, that's about the only deterrent that any nation has, because the bully is the United States, military enforcing the basically the might and value of the U.S. dollar via bombing campaigns. And well, if you got a nuclear bomb and you might be able to retaliate, best I can tell is the United States doesn't drop bombs with other countries that have or claim to have nuclear bombs at this point.
Yeah, I don't think that's happened historically. The United States hasn't invaded or used military force against any place that has a nuclear weapon. I'm not saying I want Venezuela to have them, but I'll bet if Russia already has them, and then they could just stage them in that location, I guess. Sarah, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Angie, let's go back to this article about vasectomies.
Sure.
It's less radioactive.
It was from the New York Times, and it talks about how the female sterilization is twice as prevalent as a vasectomy. It says that it's a blend of cost, misconceptions, and fears about the procedure, and cultural expectations about what truly defines a man.
So cost, I can kind of see it. It's not like there's $1,000 laying around in most houses. And I don't know what the payment plans many urologists have.
I would imagine not any.
I don't know. I mean,
I wonder if it's kind of like dental work. Can you go to Mexico and get it done cheaper, including the plane flight?
Possibly.
Yeah, probably. Especially if you're going to Mexico,
yeah, that'd be a real cool place to recover, sitting on a beach, sipping margaritas or something.
I've heard great things about Mexico in their medical field from an RN that's local here in Keene.
It seems like it might have a plus to it. There's no doubt. And there's places in the United States where these procedures would be less costly rather than more.
Sure.
So.
But $1,000 is not a lot when you think about how much it costs to raise a child.
Right. If you're doing the planning in your head, yes, it makes sense. I'm just saying that the average person isn't sitting around with $1,000, and if they do happen to have $1,000, because I think it's 40% of households can't put their hands on $400, and 60% can't put their hands on $1,000.
Is it really that high?
Yeah, and that means that you're then, if you can put your hands at $1,000, what are you going to plan for?
Yes.
Because do I want to spend $1,000 on a vacation, or do I want to spend it on the vasectomy? And in the case of the Mexico thing, you can do both.
There you go. That's an option.
And whereas, it's allocation of funds and what I can't remember what the economic term for that is, but you just got to decide what you want to do with your money at any given time.
People like instant gratification.
Well, there's some there's pretty close to instant gratification with this one, because you could stop using condoms, which is nice.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of Mexico options for vasectomy. I just Googled vasectomy in Mexico, and people all these places, click here to get a free quote from $1,000. We have 200 hospital beds. There's all kinds of places. There's options.
Things to look at.
They go on and talk to a gentleman named Chris Lopez, 34, a father of 3 boys in Suffolk, Virginia, said even though he and his wife are not planning to have more children, he is against the idea of getting a vasectomy.
Okay, why?
If I couldn't produce kids for some medical reason or biological reason, I know for a fact it would make me feel not good about myself, he said.
Huh.
For Mr. Lopez, the ability to rear children is tied to his beliefs in masculinity. A man is many things, he said. Strong, brave, a good dancer.
But, that's positive.
But also,
but gentlemen, if you can dance well, go to dance classes.
He's supposed to be able to have kids if that's what he wants.
Okay. Kids are an economic burden in a modern society. I'm not saying that, I don't love my children. I love other people's children too. It's just that, they the next one to come along, not interested in it.
Yeah.
It's and I don't have to worry about it. I guess it's you got to plan ahead, people. If you don't want a kid, don't have a kid.
For Mr. Lopez, here we go. Then there are the practical considerations, he added. Looking ahead 20 years, will he and his wife still be married? Will she even be alive?
Well, I don't know if she'll be alive or if they'll be married, but what does he need to, is this the idea that maybe I'll have to start, the family, the sequel? Family 2, the sequel.
Part 2.
I guess that could be a possibility, but if I don't know how it is for the rest of the folks, but I've done this one time. I'm not getting married again.
I agree.
I don't need to.
Yes. One time is enough.
There's lots of options out there. Marriage, to my mind, really is about kid production from the standpoint of practicality.
Yeah.
And so, what do you need to get married for otherwise? You can do it if you want. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but that's, kind of what it's all about. Take the name, you have the kids, that way the kids have the same name,
Have a great party, invite all your friends, your family gets to meet your, significant other. And
you could do that anyway.
And it's that's what we did. And, we had a love celebration.
And you don't have to ask the state for their permission.
No, I didn't.
For that.
Right.
Mr. Lopez says, maybe I meet a younger woman or something like that, and she wants to have kids, and then I can't give that to her. What then? He asks.
Yeah, the slim chance that she's going to be going for this, slowly aging father figure with the kid. Yeah,
lots of child support payments.
Yeah. That's why you get married, to limit those possibilities. The number 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, capitalists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event. Even with coupon code FTL50. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTL50 for a discount.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-301-5435. That's 800-301-5435. 800-301-5435.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you AMP Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. The number 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE as in freedom. And you can call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. It's Mark with you tonight.
Jay.
And Angie.
Talking about vasectomies. But first, let's talk about Bitcoin.com. They're your premier resource for everything that's related to cryptocurrencies. If you're seeing this crypto run, you think maybe this is it. Maybe this is the big one and it's headed on up. Well, and you want to get in and you want to find out more, go to Bitcoin.com. They have one of the most downloaded wallets on the planet is available at Bitcoin.com. That's an app for your phone where you can put your cryptocurrencies, be it Bitcoin Cash or Dash or a whole variety of them there. You can buy it there. You can show where you can spend it. So places like save at purse.com. And you can also read the latest news or engage with the community in their forum. Everything you need to know is available there for you at Bitcoin.com. They even have free Bitcoin Cash available to you at free.bitcoin.com. And interestingly, they're rolling out here come June the 4th, local.bitcoin.com, where you can engage with people in your community to sell and buy Bitcoin Cash right there in your community.
I like that local Bitcoin.com.
It's exciting news. There's no doubt about that. So, Angie, we're going on with this story, and we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. This Lopez guy says, well, what if my wife dies or we get a divorce and I need to be able to have children with the next woman, the younger woman?
Well, they go on and they get his wife's opinion.
Yeah.
His wife is a little bit older.
Yep.
She's 38, and she said she laughed when she and her husband first discussed these hypothetical scenarios. But even so, she understands where he's coming from. Not all couples do make it, she said. Life does go on, and should a spouse die, you should have that option. Their children, a 7- and 4-year-old set of twins, were conceived via vitro fertilization, and her chances of getting pregnant without assistance are so low that neither of them uses birth control. So she isn't pressing the issue.
It doesn't sound like it's the biggest issue for them.
Right.
But
someone that's like fertile myrtle like myself, it's a huge issue.
Sure.
I can look at a guy the wrong way, and that's like, oh, you're pregnant.
Yeah, that happens.
It
doesn't happen that way, just so you know.
Yeah, well, mine as well. A couple of times I've said to him, well, you could get a vasectomy and take care of that, so there would be no worries. And he says, no, I'm not doing that. You can go and get your tubes tied. But I wouldn't want to do that either, especially because I feel like I went through enough in conceiving our children in the first place.
Yeah, the way I see that, it's something internally rears up in me from an emotional standpoint. I'm like, I would want to protect my wife from an operation. So operations, this is an invasive operation going through your muscle walls and stuff like that to do a tubal ligation. I wouldn't want that unless she was already doing a C-section.
Sure.
And I don't know what percentage of tubal ligations are done while the C-section's going on, but I imagine a pretty good percentage of them are. But if it's the difference between me choosing to have a pretty cheap, pretty simple operation where I'm recovered in 4 days and her doing a tubal ligation, she has to go under anesthetic, and that's what scares me.
Yep.
So it's one thing to take, I think in my case it was a Vicodin, or a half a Vicodin, by the way. It wasn't even the full thing. They weren't sure whether they wanted to give me the whole thing, and they didn't, and whatever. So no, definitely I wouldn't want to do the, putting her under thing.
So what would be the worst case scenario with a vasectomy? You end up being neutered?
Right.
And we know the worst case scenario with getting the tubes tied is death.
The worst case scenario for a vasectomy is an infection that requires some lopping off of parts that are would be unfortunate.
That could be pretty bad.
I would rather be a gelding than my wife be dead.
That's how I feel.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree. I'd rather take the risk, what I consider to be a small risk, rather than her taking a larger risk.
And a gelding is a neutered horse, for those who didn't catch that out there.
I think almost everybody knows that one. But as a horse guy, you don't know who knows that term and who doesn't.
Well, there's a lot of horse terms people use every day, and they don't even know it's a horse term, actually.
Yep.
Please go on.
Studies have shown that men who receive vasectomies in the United States are particularly white, non-Hispanic, and live in the north, central, and western regions of the country. They also tend to have private insurance.
I did not.
Vasectomy is covered either partially or in full under most insurance plans.
Oh,
but
okay.
the procedure may require a referral from a primary care provider. Without insurance, the price is usually about $1,000. Not too bad.
Right, you can choose to get it done on your own, but I can see why, if your insurance would pay for it, that you would do that too. I mean, if you've got insurance, then you're already halfway there. You're over the $1,000 price tag.
Vasectomy reversals, however, are not covered by insurance, and the procedure is cumbersome and expensive.
Yeah, it's just not likely. I mean, if you
that
didn't
you'll want to have it reversed,
right.
That's not likely.
Right. It's not likely you're going to want to have it reversed. I have not for one moment, not one moment.
Now, what happens, something happens and your wife dies and you meet some 30-year-old woman and she says, Mark,
Can we move that down a little bit?
25.
Okay.
Let's do 25.
All right.
And she says, Mark, I love you, but I want to have kids one day. I'm young. Was it something you would consider?
If I could get a 25-year-old woman, then I can get 2.
Okay.
Right? I don't need to worry about her. Here's what you do. You say, well, let me think about it for a year. And as you think about it for that, you don't actually say that, right? Like I'm talking about, let's keep this in the back of our mind. And, I'm on the fence about this. You hem and haw, as it were, waste your time for a few months and then move on, I think would be the way to go about that. I'm not actually suggesting this, but I'm kind of suggesting this. And you know what I mean by waste her time, right, Jay?
No, I've had my time wasted a lot, but I guess I kind of understand what you're
all I'm
talking
saying is that you can take a certain amount of time to think about it.
Sure.
When somebody addresses the notion, and you can always say, look, it is possible for me to undo this. For I guess $10,000 or thereabouts, you can undo a vasectomy. So both of those things are options.
And maybe she's willing to pay for it. Who knows?
But if you can get one 25-year-old, you can get 2.
Okay.
You can get the next one, or the next one, or the next one.
By contrast, the Affordable Care Act required insurance companies to cover over 18 types of contraception used by women, including sterilization surgery, and no copayment is required. Aside from the cost, getting a vasectomy often requires multiple visits to the doctor, first to establish consent, then to have the surgery, and later to figure out when the sperm has been purged from the ejaculate. The entire process can take about 3 months or more.
I'm not sure I actually dropped my own specimen off at the vasectomy office.
You just said, here, take this.
Yeah. I think my wife took it in. Well, we lived out of town. It was 10 miles into town, and why would I go? I work from home.
Yeah.
If she's going in every day to do something in town, God knows what, shopping or whatever, the things that are important to her, and by shopping I mean grocery shopping, because she doesn't.
So they're important to you.
Yeah. Well, they're important to me too. It's just that I'm not going in.
Right.
I've got things to do. So she probably took it in and dropped it off. So that one particular visit didn't need me.
Dr. Cotter, a fellow physician for reproductive health who practices in the Seattle area, estimated that after the initial consultation, 20 to 30% of his patients end up either changing their minds or simply not showing up for the procedure.
I did consider the initial consultation kind of important. Like, I'm going to, I want to shake hands with this guy. Does he have cold hands? If he's going to be handling the boys, right? I want to know.
I think part of the fears around vasectomy is that it's so permanent, Dr. Cotter said, adding that some men worry about losing.
Life is not.
No, exactly.
Right.
This sounds like an anti-vasectomy smear. I mean, like this guy's got a problem with it.
No, they're repeating what they hear from men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They say that some of them worry losing some of their virility and their ability to enjoy sex.
Well, my concern was Jay, you know what happens when you neuter a horse or neuter a dog?
Yeah, I was just going to say there was a Family Guy episode about the dog. I forget what the dog's name. And
Brian.
And the dog gets neutered, and he's like, "Oh, I just can't stop eating chocolate. And the dog's like getting fatter." He's like, And the other guy, "Hey, want to go out and play catch?" "No, I'm going to watch TV and eat chocolate."
They should not let a dog talk about eating chocolate. It's bad for dogs, ladies and gentlemen. Not for your dog's chocolate. But I mean, they get pudgier and they get slower and they sleep more and things like that. That's not what occurred for me.
You're not removing the organ that produces the testosterone.
No,
you just
the hormone producing organ is there. It just doesn't have this little tube that's attached. That's not how the hormones get to your body. That's how the sperm get released into the semen, and the semen's produced in part whatever. We don't need the whole rigmarole as far as it goes, but everything's fine there. That's not it. Ask my wife. It didn't slow anything down. The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. Or you can use the Discord lines. Go to discord.freetalklive.com.
Jake was in big trouble with the IRS. He owed how much?
$92,000.
Ouch. The IRS left no room for Jake to breathe.
They put a lien on my house, took all the money out of my bank account, took money out of my paychecks. So it was a nightmare.
He needed help fast.
I figured that all these companies were the same until I called Federal Tax Management. You could just tell they knew what they were talking about. Right then and there, I felt like I had some hope.
Stop the liens, levies, and garnishments fast and qualify for one of several special IRS programs that could reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. So, how'd it go for Jake?
They did what they said they would do. They came through for me. I ended up saving an unbelievable amount. I was so jazzed. I was extremely happy.
If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, take Jake's advice.
Give Federal Tax Management a phone call. If they help me, they can help anybody.
Call the Federal Tax Management Hotline now. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISSparis.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,274, silver at $14.43, and Bitcoin is trading around $7,910. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, as the economy frays, companies close retail stores, others lay off workers, and Americans are going further into debt. In fact, the United States household debt has now reached all-time record highs. Activist Post reports that according to the Federal Reserve's quarterly report on household debt and credit, household debt increased for the 19th consecutive quarter to $13.67 trillion. The increase in debt was boosted by increases in mortgage, auto, and student loan balances. U.S. household debt has hit yet another all-time high, with about $97 trillion in housing debt and about $4 trillion in non-housing debt. The news comes as the auto industry is showing major signs of economic distress. Auto loan delinquencies, which millennials in particular have been struggling with, also rose slightly. Ford has announced layoffs, and unsold cars are sitting in the parking lots of what used to be vibrant and bustling retail establishments. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Some 500 Nusra Front militants, accompanied by 7 tanks and about 30 pickup trucks armed with mounted heavy machine guns, launched 3 major offensives against government troops in Idlib province on Wednesday, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. The Mind Unleashed reports the counterattack focused on the town of Kafr Nabada, which was recently captured by the Syrian government. Militants also launched a missile attack on a Russian airbase on Wednesday, but 9 of the missiles were shot down and another 8 did not reach their target. Northwest Syria, which runs along Syria's border with Turkey, is home to the last remaining rebel strongholds, including a swath of land dominated by the al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front, which has adopted a new name, Tahrir al-Sham. The increase in shelling in the region has led to the displacement of 180,000 people. A far-right Venezuelan opposition activist emailed a death threat to human rights activists from the peace group Code Pink. Midpress News reports the threat was delivered when Code Pink was helping to protect the Venezuelan government's embassy in Washington, D.C. from an illegal takeover by Juan Guaido's U.S.-backed coup administration. The rapid opposition activist, who is also a staunch supporter of Donald Trump, previously served as a machine gunner for the U.S. Marine Corps and was in the U.S. military reserves until this March. He was also on the Colombia-Venezuelan border with violent opposition activists, working with an ostensible aid group run by coup leader Juan Guaido during a failed U.S.-backed push in February. On May 2nd, Luis Medina sent Code Pink an email with the subject line, quote, warning some Venezuelans may do something, end quote. In the message, the opposition fanatic identified as a Venezuelan-born U.S. Marine veteran. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Federal authorities are currently on high alert in Washington, D.C. following reports that hundreds of crazed sociopaths infiltrated the congressional chambers this morning. Mary Canley, a Capitol employee who managed to escape the House chambers, described the troubling scene to reporters.
I saw all of them. About 400 to 500 completely deranged people just rambling on about guns, the military, and money.
Investigators say the lunatics, many of whom are believed to suffer from severe personality disorders, have locked themselves in the chambers for hours now, with no clear purpose or reasoning.
I looked at one of them right in the eyes, and it was like he was empty on the inside. devoid of any emotion or feeling. It was horrifying. It's only a matter of time before they do something that really hurts someone.
We believe these men to be manipulative and extremely dangerous. Luckily, they are also very disorganized, and there is a chance they may never be able to ever take any action at all. For more on this developing story, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, kicking off the second hour. If you're listening between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time, you can call in, talk about whatever is on your mind. It is Mark with you.
Jay?
And Angie.
Angie, we have been talking about vasectomies, and this article from the New York Times, I normally wouldn't drag a topic over the top of the hour, but this is kind of important, the next facts that are coming up. We hadn't quite finished it, and I think it's worth going through here. So please, continue.
He continues and says there's just a lot of misinformation. Ryan Krugen, a professor of sociology at the University of Tampa and a father of one, said
that means misinformation for people who just sort of what people believe about vasectomies
what
generally.
men think. And the father of one said that despite his desire to get a vasectomy, he too had last-minute doubts. Oh my gosh, I'm basically sterilizing myself, he recalled thinking. Even though it is estimated that about 500,000 men receive vasectomies in the United States each year, Dr. Cragen said it isn't something that men tend to talk about openly.
I say we give it to them not just give it to them for free, financially incentivize it.
That would be great.
Let's just go ahead. I mean, do we have the right amount of children? Too many or too few? Right now, the U.S. population is not replacing itself at the right rate, but we have a lot of immigrants that want to come in and create replacements.
Now, what do you mean by not replacing themselves at the right rate?
Oh, I didn't mean right rate. I really, they're not doing a replacement rate, right? So most families aren't having enough children to replace the parents.
To stabilize the population.
Right. If families are 1.2 or 1.3 or 1.4 children, you know, you have to figure in the families that have 0, the families that have 1, the families that have 2, the families that have, like yours, they have 3. You know, so we've got right here in the room, we got 3 married people. You got 0, 1, and 3. So we've got an average of 1.25, I think, if I've done that correctly.
Post-vasectomy, he reports his sex life has improved, especially now that his wife has no longer taken birth control. Her libido is up. There's no condom involved. It's much better. That's a win-win in every regard, he said.
It's true. The pill will drive down libido. It also makes the woman feel less attractive because it's true. She's less attractive, right? Like, you know, extra weight, some open sores in the face. That's not great.
No.
Crankiness for no reason.
That, right? It's completely less attractive that way, right? I don't care about the rest of the stuff, honestly. I'll live with it. But
in some countries, including Britain, South Korea, Canada, Ireland, Spain, and Australia, the prevalence of vasectomy exceeds that of female sterilization, according to the United Nations. But worldwide, just like in the United States, female sterilization is far more common, and couples who use contraception choose methods designed to be used by the woman.
Yes, it seems, it's no doubt. Ladies have to take care of the birth control out there. And I think there's some practical reasons for it, but at the same time, it's a really easy thing to do. We did it 10 years ago in my household, and that problem's been solved. I haven't regretted it for an instant.
Do you think your wife ever has?
No. Too bad. If she did regret it for an instant, I don't know what she's thought precisely, but I don't care. I don't need any surprises. At this point, I get to decide if I have kids, right?
There you go.
So either one of two ways. I can have my vasectomy reversed, or I can adopt a kid, and we can choose to adopt a kid. In one way, I really don't need her, right? I mean, like, all I have to do is find a willing partner if I choose to want to have another kid and I want to have the reversal done. But in her case, if we want to adopt, then, you know, we both sign on a piece of paper.
You actually have 3 choices. There's a whole Amish pauper choice also. If you
What's that?
Amish pauper is, so the Amish lineage goes way back, and a lot of them are so closely related that they're having like issues conceiving.
Okay.
Because they're like basically like cousins.
All right.
And they've never met each other before. But so an Amish pauper is generally they'll have someone who's English that is not too tall, that is, preferably white, and
there's English,
and they will basically get the wife pregnant. I actually have a friend who did this. Like, he's done it a handful of times, and for each successful pregnancy, he got paid, and he got paid pretty darn good.
So he's a gigolo.
Essentially, yes. He's like a black market gigolo.
Is this done with a turkey baster or the old-fashioned way?
Oh, no. This is done the old-fashioned way,
All right.
and the husband and elders are in the room with you.
Oh, my.
And he was basically like, I couldn't perform the first time, so a friend of mine, told me to take a half of what's the
Viagra.
Viagra, yeah. A half of Viagra. And
I never even considered that.
And then you just couldn't get up with a couple of dudes watching them.
Sure, I mean, I've never done it that way.
And they're like, kind of like, come on, boy, we got to get back to work. We got stuff to do.
That's great. Back to the article.
That's a good story.
Kayla Smith, 25, a mother in Huntington, Indiana, said she was encouraged to get her tubes tied by some of her healthcare providers after she became pregnant with twins a second time. She didn't like the side effects of the birth control pill or Depo-Provera injections, both of which she had tried in the past, so she opted for the tubal ligation.
Right. I mean, the pill and Depo and all these things, I've given a Depo shot, as a matter of fact, once. They all cause hormonal changes in the women, and none of it's good.
After enduring a painful recovery, she learned that her fiancé could have gotten a vasectomy at a minimal cost and that she now has a higher risk of an ectopic pregnancy, something that wasn't clear to her beforehand. They gave me a form, and I guess I just kind of skimmed through it, without digging too deep into what could happen, she said. If I knew then what I know now, I feel like I would have pushed him to get the vasectomy, not me. Unlike vasectomy, which is a quick outpatient procedure to cut and seal the tubes that carried sperm and block the transfer of sperm to the ejaculate, tubal ligation is far more invasive and often conducted under general anesthesia.
Right. I mean, this is the thing that I would be trying to protect my wife from. This is a real operation as opposed to a vasectomy, which is this outpatient procedure that, all they're doing is they're going through the skin. There's two little holes where it's not like they're taking a knife and slicing through and opening things up. There's two little holes. They go in, they put in some forceps, that's tweezers. They pull out the little, tube thing, give it a snip, give it a tie, shove them both back in.
You were awake?
I was awake-ish. I had taken some pill. I think it was a Vicodin, and I'm gone. I can't take that stuff. Yeah.
And they
could have done anything to me.
They do it 500,000 times a year. They're really good at this. This is essentially like getting the oil changed in your car. It's easy.
It has a higher rate of complication for these tubal ligations, and complication when you're talking about real surgery is not good news.
I think that's really all.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that's important in that article.
Yeah. So the choices here are all the variety of ways that women can get birth control done, and none of them are particularly positive, other than the main result that you're looking for, which is birth control. And so they work from that standpoint. Versus the vasectomy, which the downsides of that are some pain for a few days, which I don't know, I can handle it, it's all right, and the inability to conceive in the future without having to go through a relatively expensive operation to reverse it.
Yep.
So, that's what you gotta pick. Decide when you're done having kids, but
So men, man up. Get a vasectomy. Don't make the women do it.
Well, I guess they can't get vasectomies.
Well, no, but they can get their tubes tied, or they can get on birth control, or they can go purchase the condoms if they have to.
And some of them will just stop, providing what it is that you're looking for.
That's it.
If it's not done. So
they'll say, "I'm ovulating. I can't do that."
Can't do
right
it.
now.
Yeah, it's too close to the time. Sorry. Good luck. So that's. I'm an advocate. I had it done, and things went relatively well for me. Jay, on the other hand, you're not so much. Not so interested.
Yeah, we're actually working on having a baby and starting a family. Just got married. So, I'm I'm not in the market for a vasectomy, but if, it comes to the point, I got a couple of kids and my wife's like, no more, I'll go do it.
Makes it a lot easier.
Good.
Sure.
855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. Your thoughts on vasectomies are welcome. Free Talk Live.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Are you concerned that the values that made America great are no longer taught in schools? Well, I am, so I got my son the Tuttle Twins children's book series.
My name is Jack, and I'm 11, and I just finished the Tuttle Twins series. It taught me about liberty, free market economics, and entrepreneurship.
Give all the young people in your life a chance at reason and clear thought, because they're not going to get it at school. There are 9 books in the series, and each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting elsewhere. Go to TuttleTwins.com and use coupon code FTL to get 40% off. That's TuttleTwins.com. I believe the crypto winter is over. That, if true, means that crypto prices may be on the rise and more news will be on the horizon. Get the latest and freshest crypto news at news.bitcoin.com. They have a real staff that does real reporting, not the rehash stuff you're getting from most crypto news outlets. I am proud and happy to say that news.bitcoin.com is my first stop for all news crypto related. News.bitcoin.com. Don't forget that you can get a free Bitcoin Cash wallet and free Bitcoin Cash at free.bitcoin.com. Free crypto at free.bitcoin.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Jay.
And Angie.
So, my son Jack, he's homeschooled, and we recently got this set of books that he wanted. It's called the Tuttle Twins, and it's a children's book series. I think I sent some books, same books, over to your son.
Yep.
And did he have a chance to start on any of them?
He hasn't even opened the bag.
Okay. Well, I can tell you, Jack loved them, and he said what his quote is it taught me about liberty, free market economics, and entrepreneurship. And he'd heard the word. He couldn't spell it. So I had to help him with that part. But you can give all the young people in your life. It doesn't have to be your child, by the way, that you give these books to. It can be your nephews or your nieces or, friends' kids, because they're not that expensive, especially when you get 40% off with coupon code FTL. You can each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting anywhere else, including the golden rule, entrepreneurship, law, and justice. They're sort of modeled after classic book works, and they're great for homeschool. They're great for kids going to school. Kids 5 to 11 is what it's aimed at, and it's the rising generation isn't getting a lot of this stuff in public school. So please go to TuttleTwins.com, use coupon code FTL, get 40% off. It's Tuttle Twins, Tuttle, not turtle, TuttleTwins.com. Coupon code FTL. So I got an article here from Bloomberg. Edvar Peterson is the author. The title, so far, $1.5 billion yields a wall 1.7 miles long on the border.
They always say nobody does anything more efficiently than government, right? I mean, that's what the statists always tell me. Healthcare, building the roads, whatever.
So the wall I'm looking at here is one of these picket models. I'm going to presume that this is the wall of which they speak, because this is what's on the article. But it doesn't look like a $1.57 billion. This is almost $1 billion a mile.
This is the same thing that happens with high-speed rail. Same thing right here in Boston, the Big Dig, where they got done with that like 10 years ago, and it was supposed to be like, $600 million, and ended up being like $3 billion or something astronomical, and there's still like tremendous things wrong with the whole
they're still working on it.
Oh, they'll never stop working on it. It's a perpetual union job creating consuming and it's just and all these union guys are all big time about I forget the guy's name, who was the Scott Brown. So it was John Kerry was a senator, and then it became Scott Brown. So a bunch of my buddies are these union workers in Western Mass. They work for Northern Tree, Northern Construction. They got all these huge state and federal jobs, and they're all in the Big Dig stuff, and they all had all the Scott Brown stickers, and they're all about. And
this was the Republican.
Yeah, this was a Republican guy. Yeah. And then he tried to be a senator in New Hampshire. I guess he's got a Lake Winnie house or something.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, it was.
It's all
just a waste.
Yeah, their hands are deep in the cookie jar. I don't think very few Americans would have agreed to a wall that costs $1 billion per mile. I can't imagine the wall would cost $1 million per mile.
Well, road with all the pork, like a government-funded road is essentially about $1 million a mile. Like a major state highway or maybe even an interstate is about $1 million a mile in today. Right about now or last summer, anyways.
Now, I can't see this one picture of the wall here. Does not do it justice as to what it is. I think it's the picket form that I've seen in the past, but I'm not 100% sure. This could just be a wall. But either way, I'd like to point out, ladies and gentlemen, that we have these locations called Home Depot, Lowe's, Builders Square, and the United States isn't the only place with these places, but it is certainly a place. It's on one side of this wall, and it doesn't take too much to go to this wall and cut a hole in it. I mean, if let's say this was a metal wall, Jay. I'm looking here just to make sure that I'm just going to presume the very best, because the way this picture is taken, it's really kind of hard to see whether this
basically
wall
looks like his metal I-beams pile drived into the ground.
That's what I think it is. But let's go ahead and say that it's sheet metal between the I-beams.
Okay.
How long do you think it would take you to cut through? What would you use to cut a hole?
So if it was like 22 gauge sheet metal, which is like your average like siding sheet metal.
Yep.
And what I would use is basically I would have if I was very limited on supplies, I would basically, you got these things that are like a giant can opener that you can make yourself that would, once you poke a hole through the wall, but I would just use tin snips. You would get a punch and a hammer.
Let's say it's thicker
smack
than
a hole
that.
through it.
Let's say that it's a thicker gauge steel than
Okay, so I go get a cordless cutoff grinder.
Yeah,
high-speed cutoff wheel.
An angle grinder?
Angle grinder with a cutoff wheel. Might burn 2 blades up, making a hole.
How do you think long do you think that'll take? 20 minutes?
Nah, maybe even shorter than that.
Okay.
And
I don't know what it's like to get dynamite in Mexico.
You wouldn't need dynamite.
But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If you wanted to get, you can do it a lot faster. And this is just a perpetual problem. Unless you ask any prison guard, it's not the fence that keeps the inmates in. It's the guy on the other side with the shotgun. You're going to have somebody every quarter mile or so.
Even if that wall was as thick as a ship's hull, let's say 4 inches, like some of these destroyers have 4-inch thick steel hull. Well, you could totally backpack an oxygen acetylene setup. You could bring it in on pack mules.
Yep.
You could drop it off in a pickup truck, and you could torch through that baby, no problem. Even if it's I-beam, 3/4-inch thick I-beam, one right after another, with an acetylene torch in an hour, you'd have a nice little hole through the wall.
That's why I wouldn't say that this wall's worth $1 million a mile, but $1 billion a mile is 1,000 times that. What's the right price, ladies and gentlemen, for this wall?
Are you hiring Uncle Vinny's construction company that's hooked up with all the local town politicians? Or are you trying to get your driveway paved or a wall built in your backyard by some private contractor? I can't believe it's this. I just can't believe it costs this. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol has put up 1.7 miles of fencing with a $1.57 billion with a $1.75 billion that Congress appropriated last year for President Donald Trump's wall along the Mexican border, a federal judge was told. A lawyer for the Democrat-controlled U.S. House of Representatives provided the information Tuesday to the judge in Oakland, California, who is weighing requests from 20 state attorneys general and the Sierra Club to block Trump from using funds not authorized by Congress to build the wall. The administration recently provided updated information to Congress on the status of the efforts. As of April 30th, 2019, the Attorney General Douglas Letter said in a court filing based on that updated information, it appears is that CBP, Customs and Border Patrol, has now constructed 1.7 miles of fencing with its fiscal year 2018 funding. Government pork.
I didn't want to believe this title when I read it. I can't believe this. I cannot believe that an organization is so incompetent that it takes $1 billion a mile to put up a wall.
That's the purpose, to waste all the money they can.
It's amazing. Free Talk Live.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. We're talking about Trump's wall here on Free Talk Live. And, you know, this is one of those issues. One of the issues that kind of separates Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live is on 200 radio stations across the country. It's Mark with you, by the way.
Jay.
And Angie.
And more than 200 radio stations. And we, most of those radio stations are conservative. Most conservatives support some kind of immigration control. And some kind of immigration control has become shorthand for a wall. And I just don't support this. It's just a boondoggle. And that's what I said from the beginning. Boondoggle is the word that I've used to describe this since Trump was running. And it's a boondoggle. We're reading an article here from Bloomberg where they're saying that during fiscal year 2018, they've got updated numbers, and based on that updated information, it appears as though the CBP, Customs and Border Patrol, has now constructed 1.7 miles of fencing with its fiscal year 2018 funding, and that cost $1.57 billion, which is putting us darn close to $1 billion per mile of fence. And I am stunned that, they can manage to do this. But I got this story by going to freedomsphoenix.com. I do it every day. I get a newsletter from freedomsphoenix.com, actually sometimes twice a day. It's a liberty-oriented news aggregation site, and if you want the newest, freshest stories and perspective on current events from those who value liberty, freedomsphoenix.com has it. Their daily dispatch, which is what I get, is the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. Freedoms with an S. Phoenix.com. Freedomsphoenix.com. If you don't know how to spell Phoenix, and I don't, just go use Google. You'll get there. Freedomsphoenix.com. So going on with this article from Bloomberg, so it's 3/4 of a mile more than the administration reported at the end of February, they were told. U.S. District Judge Haywood Gillum had asked for the information at a May 17 hearing. A May 20 report by Customs and Border Protection on the status of the border wall specified that $1.5 billion in 2018 funding is being used to update or build 80 miles of the border wall. That includes 14 miles of new and updated wall panels near San Diego, which is expected to be finished near early next year, and 13 miles of new construction in the Rio Grande Valley. It's not clear when that part will be finished. The report doesn't state how much of the $1.5 billion has been spent to date and doesn't contradict letters' claim. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers did hand out more than $800 million of the 2018 funding for new contracts, according to the report, and contracts have also been awarded for 41 miles of new wall to replace pedestrian fencing in San Diego and Calexo, California, and Yuma, Arizona, which should be completed late next year, according to the report. Another 12 miles of new wall in the Rio Grande Valley requires additional consulting with local officials. President Donald Trump also commented on the progress of the wall construction on Twitter Wednesday, saying, "Tremendous work is being done." Great, tremendous work is being done. At this point, what we've got for our 1.5...
At a tremendous cost.
Yeah, 1.5 billion, 1.6 billion, basically, is 1.7 miles of wall. In all that, $6.1 billion in funding has been committed since 2017 for the wall. Both the Customs and Border Protection and Defense Department for 336 miles, according to the report. Well, those numbers at least make me feel a little bit better. I don't know if those are repairs. It seems like from these numbers that many of these are repair numbers versus new construction numbers, but any of these walls can be breached in a very short period of time by people with the right tools. And, I don't say what you want about Mexicans. What people never say is that they're not resourceful. These are very resourceful people.
And the more desperate you are, the more resourceful you're going to be. And just like if these coyotes are getting paid $10,000 a head, they got a lot of resources to buy really nice equipment. In fact, I don't know, a guy like me would probably be pretty valuable on that south side of the Mexican border. I could start myself a service where I go breach these fences to show off my rig, cut holes in them, and hey, you guys are all set. See you later.
What kind of rig would you use if you had to go through these fences?
If I had to go through these fences, I would probably, literally a half-ton pickup truck. Not even like an Isuzu Hombre or something, or a Suzuki Sidekick. I wouldn't need much.
Right.
I mean, I could literally probably do it on horseback. Bring in to torch oxygen acetylene tanks. There's a tremendous amount of energy used correctly. You can cut through whatever you want. Maybe a couple of hammers, bang it down. It wouldn't be bad. I just Googled Israel fence costs.
Yep.
Israel's fence costs are $2 million a mile to build, they're saying. This is a WashingtonExaminer.com article from
the U.S. government isn't coming anywhere near that number.
No.
And they're claiming the U.S. government is doing it at $3.5 million per mile back in 2017, according to this article.
Well, the things seem to really have gone haywire in 2018.
Well,
there is inflation.
Make a spectacle of it. Make a spectacle of it, and it's just all waste. The waste is insane. And
I think we really got hoodwinked in 2018 on this, by the looks of it. I'm stunned at the numbers I see. I guess $3.5 million for a wall, depending on what kind of wall you make over the course of a mile. I could live with those kind of costs, especially if the government can pull it off. Then I'm kind of impressed, actually. But somehow in Israel they do it for less.
It's still taking advantage of the fact that there's zero accountability. I mean, even the Israeli government has no accountability. They're just gonna ask the poor people in the United States for financial aid, because that's what the United States does. They give Israel millions and millions of dollars a year. I don't know how much it is. And of course, I'm sure there's tax slaves in Israel too that are paying for all this, just like there is here. But, it's just the unions in this country, especially the public sector unions, don't think anything more about just charging more and charging more and charging more and charging more.
Well, we need, look, the laborers, whether they're in a union or not, are certainly needed. Let's put them on bridges, for God's sakes. If we're going to build things, if we're going to throw money at stuff, let's work on bridges and decaying roads and
Real
infrastructure. Yeah, infrastructure in the United States, versus putting up new construction on the border for no particularly good reason. Now, I'd like to go across my full argument here, and I think that this is really important. Many people will tell you all an immigrant wants to do is set foot on U.S. soil. And once they do, they're eligible for asylum. So all they have to do, they don't have to get away with cutting through the wall.
What do you mean they're eligible for asylum?
Right. So when somebody comes from Honduras,
yep,
and they're fleeing economic hardship in Honduras, all they have to do is set foot on U.S. soil, and they've already been given little sheets on what to say. Right? Some lawyer down in Mexico has given them some little sheet of things to say, and they don't even have to say it in English. They can say it in Spanish if they want to. I am seeking asylum, fleeing hardship in my homeland. I request asylum for the United States. Blah blah blah. Right? Okay. Whatever they say, and then they take them into custody. And then they have to let them go at some point because we don't have nearly enough judges to see these people. If you wanted to dump money into something, dump them into judges in the whole immigration outfit.
So they let them go in the United States. They don't send them back.
Right. And now they're spreading them out across the United States, which probably makes more sense than anything.
I want all those guys to come here. We can put them to work. There's plenty of jobs to do.
Right. I think they should be able to come here and should be able to get work, but I don't think they should be eligible for any kind of government funding or anything like that.
Well, if you get rid of the welfare state and you get rid of the prohibition, you're going to get you're not going to be having the undesirables come into the border so they can just come here and, sell drugs and, collect welfare.
Right. They can't get welfare. They're going to stay home.
I work with a lot of illegal Mexicans, and I really think they're great people. All the guys I worked with were great.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's some disreputable folks too at the same time, but either way, those people are likely to stay home. The number 855-450-3733, 855-450-FREE.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, capitalists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event. Even with coupon code FTL50. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTL50 for a discount.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. You can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Jay.
And Angie.
And I want to tell you about the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. That's amp.freetalklive.com. And you can do as Jordy has done by amplifying the program. Jordy's a silver amplifier, which means $5 a month. Not a big deal. About the cost of one of those fancy coffees at one of those chain coffee places. And if you can give up one of those and give it to us, we can use it to get more radio stations and get more podcast listeners. That's how we spread the ideas of liberty here on Free Talk Live and allow people to call in and talk about what they want to. I mean, we propagate freedom of speech. It's amp.freetalklive.com. We give you what all the other radio guys give you for free, and we just ask you to support amp.freetalklive.com. Angie, you've got an article here that I guess, what was it about exercise?
It is. It's about how they have started treating psych patients with exercise.
Psych patients? So like people with mental health issues?
Yes, exactly.
Okay? If I'm not working out in some manner at least every week, I begin to have just sort of my brain doesn't function the way I'd want it to. I mean, depression's probably not the right term, but maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I'm no doctor, but I've got to exercise in order to keep myself sort of in a positive frame of mind.
I agree completely. I feel the exact same way. The article is in Science Daily, and it goes on. It says, when it comes to inpatient treatment of a range of mental health and mood disorders, from anxiety and depression to schizophrenia, I can't say that.
Suicidality.
Thank you. And acute psychotic episodes. A new study advocates for exercise rather than psychotropic medications.
Right. Now, I wouldn't, I'm not a doctor, but I would not say that there's no role for psychotropic medications.
Right.
I would never take that stance. I think that some people can be helped immensely for a variety of things. But I also believe that if you're going to do whatever this other thing is, whether it's taking some drug that has these side effects, there's electrical stimulation, a whole bunch of things, try some exercise first.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the side effects of exercise are nearly non-existent. I'll admit, if you jog on the side of the road or bike ride on the side of the road, yes, so the side effect can be death. Okay, I get it. But there are other ways to exercise, and you're out with people. If you're going to a gym, getting a gym membership, I don't know everything, but I know Planet Fitness says $10 a month. I've never used their plan. Yep. I don't know the specifics on it. I'm not advocating for Planet Fitness, even though it is a New Hampshire-based business. But anything you're doing, I don't care if you're doing jiu-jitsu like I do, or going to a gym and working out like you and I do, yep. Angie, or working hard like Jay does. Whatever it is, if you're physically using your body on the regular, then it's just better for your brain. We weren't evolved to be sitting in front of computers and looking at memes.
No. Side effects. Working out means that you're going to lose weight, you're going to build muscle, you're going to get stronger. Those are all great side effects.
Not to mention the fact that if you're doing it in places where other people are, you're liable to meet some people that you enjoy spending time with. There's a whole bunch of good reasons.
We say we have a flex family at our gym.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is, so I've done a lot of business with the Amish. The Amish are working. The guy who's 70-something years old, he might be up on the sitting there steering the horses, but the kids are raking rocks out of the way and pulling the horses or spanking the mules to make them pull the plow or whatever. They're stacking hay, they're hauling wood, they're just doing all kinds of stuff. And literally, the average human had to do physical labor up until the last, maybe 8,500 years. For most people had to actually work in the last few years. The last, 25, 30 years, there's whole generations of people now that have never worked, either because they're living on the dole or they're all about, I'm going to sit in front of a computer and make all my living or whatever. There's a lot of people that can get along fine.
They don't even know what it is.
Right, yeah, they have no clue what it is.
This is an interesting one. When Georgia kicked out its illegal immigrants, made it very difficult for them to be there, then a lot of Hispanics left, which some illegal, some weren't. And they were having a difficult time harvesting crops.
Yep.
They brought inmates in from the prisons, because Georgia's got plenty of them, just like Florida, and they couldn't get the inmates upon pain of going to confinement. They couldn't throw them in the hole. The inmates are like, throw me in the hole.
Before I do that.
Before they do that. They didn't want to harvest. That's the way they saw it. And I was stunned to hear it, because
I'm not sure I'd want inmates picking my lettuce and my spinach. At least so-called illegal immigrants are there voluntarily. They want to be there working. They want to do something so they can go back to Mexico or send the money back home to wherever.
The advantage of having, say, migrant workers is that they can work from sun up to sundown. The inmates, at least when I worked, I was on inmate crew, and when I worked, it was you have to wait for the officer to pick you up. So the officer's got an 8-hour workday. They pick you up, and then there's some amount of time to check out the inmates, drive them to wherever they're going, make them work. Then there's lunch. So they usually, drive you to some place to have lunch. The officer's got to eat lunch too. Remember, this is, the officer's there the whole time. And then, work some more, then drive back and check them all in, and then fill out whatever paperwork there is to fill out. So the officer's only got the 8-hour workday. That means that work out of the inmates is maybe 6 hours a day.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. Tops. 5-6 hours.
And I'm sure it's poor work ethic all the way around, too.
It generally was.
Did you get paid anything for that?
No, they were paying the state for it, but I didn't get paid anything for it. I didn't mind it. It was fine by me to ride around, and I've never been scared of work.
Yeah.
That's the thing is I realized at some point, what prison did for me and didn't do for what a lot of people was I realized, if I have a good attitude, I'm going to rise above 85% of the people here. All I have to do is have a good attitude. And then the advantages of being who I am, smart, ethnically advantaged, articulate, and all the things that go into being who I am, then put me above that other 15%.
Yep.
Because 85% of the people had terrible attitudes about being there. And I understand, it's prison. You're not supposed to have that great of an attitude. But you still get a choice every single day as to how you're going to behave that day.
Yep.
You don't want to be at work and you have a terrible attitude about it? I have a solution. Change your attitude. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this. They want to be cynical. And that's your choice. You get the results. Those results are yours for the taking. You can have that. Cynicism is always an option. I decided that, I saw the results of cynicism and I wasn't interested in them. I was going to have a positive attitude and I was going to try my best. And I had this mentor, Mr. Valone was his name, and every day he'd come in and say, positive mental attitude. And I was like, oh, God, this guy, it is crap. And pretty soon I'm like, you know what? I'm wrong. He's right. And I changed my mind and it changed my life.
Good.
Yeah, and same thing just in normal everyday life. I mean, you're going to be probably worth, better than a lot of the people around you just because your attitude's better. I mean, you're going to be the last guy to get fired. If you got you might not even be the best guy at your job, but just the fact that you have a good attitude is just goes so much further than really about anything else when it comes to dealing with other people.
Right, and there was just news out today. Ford is laying off 10% of its white-collar workforce. Not the union guys or anything like that. Worldwide. They're seeing some kind of slump coming. I don't know what the specifics are of this. You guys can figure that out on your own. But I would presume that they're allowing some level of management to pick who below them is going. And how do you think they're going to pick them? They're probably going to pick them based on productivity, attitude, who wants to work with them, who doesn't. I mean, now's the time to get rid of Joe, that smelly guy. Right? Yeah. Joe's gone.
Yep.
Or the guy that is always the last one to check in and the first one to check out.
Right. Looking at the clock, rolling in a little late. No, just figuring out however it is to get away with doing as little as possible. And many people are taught, my uncle said that this is how he was taught to work in the military. He said it almost ruined him for a civilian life, is that he was basically taught to figure out how to do as little as possible, sleep behind a tree or whatever. And that's
why
it's
wall
a way to
costs
get
so
through
much
life.
to build.
What's that?
That's why the wall costs so much to build. That's how government work is.
I can't disagree entirely. Angie, I want to hear about more of the sort of benefits for exercise for mental health. But I think we all, isn't this the human condition? We all face some kind of mental health issues. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. Or check us out, our Discord at discord.freetalklive.com.
Jake was in big trouble with the IRS. He owed how much?
$92,000.
Ouch. The IRS left no room for Jake to breathe.
They put a lien on my house, took all the money out of my bank account, took money out of my paychecks. So it was a nightmare.
He needed help fast.
I figured that all these companies were the same until I called Federal Tax Management. You could just tell they knew what they were talking about. Right then and there, I felt like I had some hope.
Stop the liens, levies, and garnishments fast and qualify for one of several special IRS programs that could reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. So, how'd it go for Jake?
They did what they said they would do. They came through for me. I ended up saving an unbelievable amount. I was so jazzed. I was extremely happy.
If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, take Jake's advice.
Give Federal Tax Management a phone call. If they help me, they can help anybody.
Call the Federal Tax Management Hotline now. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,274, silver at $14.43, and Bitcoin is trading around $7,910. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, as the economy frays, companies close retail stores, others lay off workers, and Americans are going further into debt. In fact, the United States household debt has now reached all-time record highs. Activist Post reports that according to the Federal Reserve's quarterly report on household debt and credit, household debt increased for the 19th consecutive quarter to $13.67 trillion. The increase in debt was boosted by increases in mortgage, auto, and student loan balances. U.S. household debt has hit yet another all-time high, with about $97 trillion in housing debt and about $4 trillion in non-housing debt. The news comes as the auto industry is showing major signs of economic distress. Auto loan delinquencies, which millennials in particular have been struggling with, also rose slightly. Ford has announced layoffs, and unsold cars are sitting in the parking lots of what used to be vibrant and bustling retail establishments. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Some 500 Nusra Front militants, accompanied by 7 tanks and about 30 pickup trucks armed with mounted heavy machine guns, launched 3 major offensives against government troops in Idlib province on Wednesday, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. The Mind Unleashed reports the counterattack focused on the town of Kafr Nabada, which was recently captured by the Syrian government. Militants also launched a missile attack on a Russian airbase on Wednesday, but 9 of the missiles were shot down and another 8 did not reach their target. Northwest Syria, which runs along Syria's border with Turkey, is home to the last remaining rebel strongholds, including a swath of land dominated by the al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front, which has adopted a new name, Tahrir al-Sham. The increase in shelling in the region has led to the displacement of 180,000 people. A far-right Venezuelan opposition activist emailed a death threat to human rights activists from the peace group Code Pink. Midpress News reports the threat was delivered when Code Pink was helping to protect the Venezuelan government's embassy in Washington, D.C. from an illegal takeover by Juan Guaido's U.S.-backed coup administration. The rapid opposition activist, who is also a staunch supporter of Donald Trump, previously served as a machine gunner for the U.S. Marine Corps and was in the U.S. military reserves until this March. He was also on the Colombia-Venezuelan border with violent opposition activists, working with an ostensible aid group run by coup leader Juan Guaido during a failed U.S.-backed push in February. On May 2nd, Luis Medina sent Code Pink an email with the subject line, quote, warning some Venezuelans may do something, end quote. In the message, the opposition fanatic identified as a Venezuelan-born U.S. Marine veteran. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
In this week's Onion Tips section, 5 easy ways to adapt your deplorable and parasitic existence for the upcoming Armageddon. Tip 1. Focus on preparing your home for any number of disaster situations, which still probably won't take your mind off of your impending death or the myriad mistakes you made in your short, pitiful life. Tip 2. Make sure your linens are clean prior to the upcoming catastrophe, as these are likely the very same sheets on which you will soon be slowly asphyxiated. Tip 3. Take some time off work and spend your last days free from the bonds of the oppressive machine that was just about the only thing giving you a purpose to your otherwise insignificant days. Tip 4. Spend your final waking minutes before the end of the world with your family, knowing full well you'd rather be doing a number of other gratifying yet completely depraved things. Right, sicko? In other news, a smitten foot fetishist thinks these may be the two. A woman and her gay best friend go on another one of their little adventures, and a dead daughter would have wanted a $220 million liability settlement.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you are free to call in and talk live here on the airwaves. That's what we do. That's why we're here. It's Mark with you.
Jay.
And Angie.
And I just got some news that I have not yet verified. I'm going to verify it here in the relatively near future, working on getting it done, that Free Talk Live may very well be the 26th rated talk show in the nation. We've just heard that, from somebody just before we came on the air here, and I believe it because, well, I mean, that's we were 27 last year, so it's not unlikely. Let's see, rolling through here, number 2018. It's 2019 now, right?
Yep.
So that couldn't make any sense. Well, I don't know. Maybe you've heard it here first. Maybe you haven't. I don't know. But I hear that Free Talk Live has moved up to the 26th rated talk show in the nation from the 27th. It's nice to be moving up. Happy to do that. We've just gotten 200 radio stations, and so we're 200 radio stations, ranked number 26, displacing the inevitable Alex Jones, who I hear dropped down a little bit. And he for very good reason, jumped up the charts because he was one of these big proponents of Trump, and it's said that Alex Jones had something to do with Trump getting elected. So, I could see why they would give him more credit for influence and that kind of thing. I don't mind that. But I'm just happy to be slowly crawling up the charts here on Free Talk Live. And Angie, we were talking about exercise. I want to get back to that here, but first we've got a call in here from on the Discord lines. It's Libertat. Libertat, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was just calling to take it back to the birth control discussion you guys were having earlier, and Mark, you kind of hinted at it when you were talking about the options available to women. I think that the major issue that you have is there a lack of temporary solutions for men. So basically, if you had like a Plan B equivalent that you could, like a prophylaxis that you could take, that had an effect for 24, 48 hours, I think it would be a much more popular option because basically your options are a rather permanent solution. Vasectomies are reversible, but it's not guaranteed and it's very expensive. Or condoms, which are effective but also detrimental. How to put this the right way to the act that you're engaging in.
Right, they're not so much fun. But condoms have added benefits beyond, like if you're for instance getting intimate with somebody you don't know that well, then maybe it's a good idea to start there.
Yeah, if you're a whore, carry condoms, definitely.
I guess I was trying to look at it strictly from a population control perspective.
Yeah.
But there are other factors in play. It just seems like I don't know if it's because there's no market for it or because no one actually wants it. But I'm pretty sure you could get most. If there was a pill that a man could take 24 hours before he knew he was going out for whatever he's going out for, they would only last for, I mean, if it only lasted for a week, I think you'd probably get a lot more people that would get on board with it, because a vasectomy, although it is reversible, it's a rather big step, and there's no small step you can make.
I haven't, okay, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. However, I've heard that if you, get in a jacuzzi or something that is warm enough, you need to check the temperature, but I've heard the temperature is at 104 degrees for long enough, and I've heard that it was 20 minutes. Again, if you're going to use this as some kind of system to prevent a very costly issue like having a kid, you should check it out yourself. But, I'm just telling you what I've heard is that you keep them warm enough, long enough, and it kind of kills things off for a month.
Yeah, up to 3 months, because I'm actually not allowed in the hot tub anymore.
Yeah.
So for that particular reason.
I imagine that's the case. And, I hope that there are benefits beyond that, but, no hot tub for you.
That's all right.
That sounds like something that goes in the bucket with the rhythm method and other things that Catholic schoolboys have found out don't work over the past couple of years.
I don't discount the non-scientific stuff completely. I mean, the rhythm method has been pretty effective for lots of people for a long time, but it isn't by any means foolproof. Thanks for the call, Libertat.
No, thanks.
Yep, appreciate it. I would love to see, some kind of male pill. They've talked about this thing since I was young. And look, the problem with that is that, don't forget, the pill causes all kinds of hormonal issues for ladies.
Yes.
Can you rattle some of them off here for me, Angie?
Oh, acne, weight gain, mood swings, just all kinds of stuff.
Cranky attitude.
Yeah.
False attraction.
What's that mean?
So, when girls are on the pill, they're actually attracted to a different man than when they're not on the pill quite often. I think there was actually some it was an article that was done here on Free Talk Live where I heard about it a while ago, and I had and I've also heard it from time to time, and that girls will start dating a guy and they're on the pill dating a guy, then they get off the pill and they're not attracted to the guy because hormones essentially are what are controlling a lot of what we're attracted to, what kind of food we want to eat, whether
hormones
whatever.
Control everything. I mean, they're the things that make the electricity go in your brain from the synapses to the synapses. I mean, the argument certainly can be made that your personality is almost entirely hormonal.
Yeah, I would think so. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably some brain structure to it, but between hormones and brain structure, that's you, ladies and gentlemen. So, let's go to the phones. We've got David here calling in from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Not a doctor? Good thing you're not a doctor.
Well, I'm glad I didn't have to go to school for all those years.
Yeah, well, we shouldn't be giving doctors and lawyers that deference. Do you say, I'm not a plumber, folks. I'm not a plumber, but you know what? When you go out to buy a plunger, but I'm not a plumber.
Yep.
I'm not a plumber.
It's about a liability issue, I think. I don't know.
Well, there can be a hell of a lot of liability if you screw up some plumbing. You can do $100,000 worth of damage in somebody's house with a plumbing
I'm not saying
accident.
You're wrong, David. Yeah. I'm only saying that people like me say that for reasons, and the reason is that you're more likely to be sued over this than that.
Right, but what I'm saying is we got to get after those people. We got to stop putting doctors and lawyers up on their little perch where everybody's afraid to say anything about I would recommend a Band-Aid for that, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor.
You're right.
It's all bull. We need to get off of that. And I got something serious of my own. I have some unfinished business. Jay asked a question about anger a while back, and I didn't get to address it, so that's what I want to address now. Since today is the 15th birthday of my son, whom I haven't seen on a birthday or any other day for that matter, since it was his third birthday.
Oh gosh!
And that's along with his sister. And I got something here I wanted to share that falls into that anger question that Jay had asked me. But also somebody did some experiments. I read it years ago where they did experiments with men's testicles and heat in hot water especially, and they did a rather thorough job of their experiment. And I don't think it had much, if any, effect on the sperm count. Yeah, you can. I'm sure it's available online if somebody does a search on that kind of thing. And as for condoms, here's a little tip, gentlemen, and it'll work for the ladies too but you have to go to 3 condoms instead of 2. But if you're going to use a latex condom or poly, whatever, for the protection aspect of it, yeah. the disease thing. No, for the disease thing.
Okay.
Diseases will get through the lambskin, natural lambskin gut condoms.
Yep.
Diseases will get through them, but sperm will not. And so if you're worried about pregnancy, you can use the natural condoms. But if you're worried about disease, you have to use this man-made stuff.
Okay.
But if you put the natural one for men, if you put the natural one inside of the synthetic one, it feels like almost the real thing. And women have the same complaint. So haven't tried it, but if you put a natural one on the outside of a synthetic one, it may have the same effect. You still got to deal with all the monkey business, but at least it feels unlike the synthetic.
Huh.
But anyway,
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE as in Free Talk Live.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I believe the crypto winter is over. That, if true, means that crypto prices may be on the rise and more news will be on the horizon. Get the latest and freshest crypto news at news.bitcoin.com. They have a real staff that does real reporting, not the rehash stuff you're getting from most crypto news outlets. I am proud and happy to say that news.bitcoin.com is my first stop for all news crypto related. News.bitcoin.com. Don't forget that you can get a free Bitcoin Cash wallet and free Bitcoin Cash at free.bitcoin.com. Free crypto at free.bitcoin.com.
I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, Edge Wallet, at edge.app. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet.
According to a report released Monday, Americans currently lead the world in compressing big sandwiches into sufficiently biteable sizes, outranking countries such as Germany, Slovenia, and Ukraine in their sheer capacity to squeeze BLTs, meatball subs, and grinders into shapes that will easily and efficiently fit into their open mouths. Researchers pointed out that in series after series of tests, Americans consistently topped international rankings by implementing over 800 pounds per square inch of compressive force on sandwich categories as diverse as banh mi, croque monsieurs, or gyros, rarely hesitating for more than a moment before diving in and pushing the bread together and wedging it into their mouths.
Even in the cases in which Americans failed to sufficiently compress a sandwich and, say, dropped a stray piece of bacon or avocado, they still led the pack on quickly scooping up this topping with their hands and eating it, sometimes even inventively doing so with a stray potato chip or french fry.
This is the Onion News Network.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can call in, talk about whatever you want to talk about here on Free Talk Live. That's why we open up the phone lines, is so you can call in. The number's 855-450-3733, or you can use the Discord rooms. Go to discord.freetalklive.com, download the app, and it's pretty self-explanatory after that. I want to tell you about AnyPay. If you've got a retail business, or maybe even an online commerce site, that sort of thing, they can help you. You go to helpmetakebitcoin.com. It's helpmetakebitcoin.com. And the folks at AnyPay make it easy. If you already have a cryptocurrency wallet, you're more than halfway done. It's like 2 minutes of work to be able to accept cryptocurrency. You more or less have to have some kind of point-of-sale device, maybe a tablet or something, up by the register. But other than that, helpmetakebitcoin.com. They make it easy for you. And, there's some advantages to accepting cryptocurrency at your business. The customers are quite a bit more loyal. We went out this week, Ian and I. We had an appointment, and he's like, oh, you got to try this food truck. They take crypto. So we went. It was really good. Really, really good. We enjoyed it greatly. And we paid with our Edge wallets and got our crypto. We got some Bitcoin cash back. It was awesome. Helpmetakebitcoin.com. That's helpmetakebitcoin.com. Let's go to David calling in New Mexico. Back to David and calling from New Mexico. He was talking about sort of the situation where his children were taken from him 12 years ago. David, you're back on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, under the heading of anger, following up with a question that Jay had asked me. Let me get to that in a second. And with any complex issue, you never get through it in one phone call, and so we won't get through this, but we can begin it. And I was saying that today is the 15th birthday of my son. We gave him my name because it's a good name, David. So his name is David Olson as well. And I haven't seen him in the last 12 years. And today is his birthday, and this is his birthday present. Happy birthday, David. Look at that. I inadvertently just violated a judge's orders, which ties in perfectly.
Is that attempting to contact or something?
Yeah, in the pendency of this custody case, the various judges have maintained intact an order of no contact. And let's go back to, and this is answering your question, Jay, about anger. Let's go back to the very beginning of that, when Judge Angela Jewell in Albuquerque, New Mexico, originally ordered that very first order of no contact between myself and my ex, or myself and my children, or vice versa. One day, several months later, literally several months, this was back in 2007, I typed onto my computer in my Facebook field there and posted it. I said, and I don't remember the exact quote, but pretty darn close was, I love you, David. I love you, Paisley. And that's probably exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And then about a month later, the opposing side filed a motion to hold me in contempt for violating the no contact order because I had typed and posted on Facebook I love you, David.
What'd the
I
judge
love
say
you,
to that?
Paisley. I'm telling you.
Okay,
and,
I want to know.
So at that, and bear in mind that at that time, they were both in diapers. One of them was one, and the other one.
So they weren't cruising Facebook?
They weren't cruising Facebook, to my knowledge, and nobody on the opposing side was going to convey any message that they read on my Facebook to them because they were trying to keep isolation rather than further any communication.
So you're telling the ether that you loved your children.
Pardon?
You're telling the ether that you loved your children.
Exactly. And so the opposing attorney, P.J. Hartman Jaramillo, she had some married stuff in there. Anyway, Paulette J. Hartman Jaramillo, whatever, she filed a motion to hold me in contempt. And so what the judge did is held me in contempt, and she fined me. She decided that if I paid for 1 hour of that attorney's time so that my ex wouldn't have to pay her or could get her money back, because doing that hearing took about an hour, and so my ex had to pay that attorney $250. And so because I said, I love you, David, I love you, Paisley, and I've just now violated that no contact order 3 times here in the last couple minutes. But they fined me $250, and if I didn't pay it, she was gonna put me in jail for saying, I love you, David, I love you, Paisley.
Did you ever try that out just to see what they would do?
Try what out? Not paying it?
Yeah.
No, I was in too poor of condition at the time to want to do that. Civil disobedience.
Just curious. It's stunning. I mean, just a man saying that he loves his children on social media, just saying "I love you" to them is somehow a problem. I mean, it's stunning. It's a miscarriage of justice.
Especially when they're in diapers. Not only could they not read, obviously, neither one of them, the younger one, she was obviously not speaking, and the older one, he had a hearing problem when he was young, so he was a little bit late in beginning to speak, and so they not only were they not reading, they weren't speaking. But so tying that back into Jay, I had called a number of like a month or two back or whatever. And Jay, you had said that I sounded angry, and that was one of two things, or a combination. One, some people say that when they're trying to needle somebody a little bit, stating the obvious, that obviously I was angry. And the other side of that is that actual interest in why, if somebody is angry and why, and you can tell me whether what combination or one or the other that was, and then I can answer your question.
I don't exactly 100% recall why it was I mentioned that you sounded angry. I do remember telling you sounded angry, but it would probably be I would definitely be interested in knowing what drives someone to be angry, and it sounds like you just explained it, and that's terrible that your kids have been taken from you.
I will say this though, David. Right. I mean, it's 12 years, right? And pretty obviously, whatever the battle is the battle's lost, and it's terrible. But at this point, your anger doesn't do anything to the ex. It doesn't do anything to get you back together with your kids, which is I hope is what happens at some point, for God's sakes. And I just wonder whether the anger at this point is worse for you than anybody else.
Well, that may be, but being scientific for a second, I also have noticed that my highest performance comes when I'm angry. Unfortunately, it seems to be tied. There's probably some adrenaline shot going stuff on there, which is where adrenaline fatigue comes from. But adrenaline also does clarify your thought, and it also does obviously give you the energy to perform, and so it has some positive effects as well. And yes, it has negative effects, and of which we won't waste time on right now. And so to that degree, I agree with you. But I need to. You said something is the battle is lost. In actuality, it's not lost. What has been lost is lost. But the future, is the future isn't lost until it has passed. And this case is still live. This is not a dead case. This is an active case.
Well, keep us up to date on it, Dave. Keep us up on it. 855-450-3733. It's Free Talk Live. 855-450 free, as in freedom.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. Radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can call in, talk about whatever you want here on this live edition. Final segment to do so. It's Mark with you.
Jay.
And Angie.
Right. So next segment, I've got an interview coming up that I did this it was late last week with Bob Barr, the former presidential candidate, and he's talking about the Trump impeachment stuff that's going on. You know, it's hard to get a Washington insider, especially one that's at least somewhat somewhat even-keeled here. And I thought it was an interesting interview, so I'm going to bring it to you here in the final segment. But Angie, we're talking about an article where at this point they're using exercise to treat psych patients?
That is correct. It's one on ScienceDaily.com. The article findings from the study reveal that physical exercise is so effective at alleviating patient symptoms that it could reduce patients' time admitted to acute facilities and reliance on psychotropic medications. The general attitude of medicine. Go ahead.
This has been pretty much said by, sort of the people that want to heal people naturally for years and years, that you can see some benefit. And I'm not saying everybody's going to see complete benefit or anything like that. And it's amazing how if you tell a depressed person they need to do some exercise, like I've been berated a couple of times for this. Look, I think everybody deals with depression. I think that not exercising is going to cause depression.
Absolutely.
That's my stance on it.
I just told a family member, hey, you need to get out and do something. Plant a garden. It's spring. You got some land. Go for a walk around the block. You just need to do something. I don't care what it is. Just go do it. Stop hanging around and just sitting there and watching TV. And
worst case scenario is it doesn't work for you. But trying it is, it's a place to start.
But it will work if you get into it and you actually put forth effort. And if you can't do it, you ask for assistance. Mm-hmm. And you find someone who knows what they're doing or that can even give you a routine. You can Google so many things. Right. And it will give you workout routines and what you should do for abs and what you should do for arms and what you should do for your legs. And it's not rocket science. You just follow the movements.
Right. What were some of the things when you started? You're quite the workout lady. You certainly look it. What were some of the things you did when you started?
Well, the first thing I did was I joined a spin group.
Okay.
For cardio because I needed endurance. I could lift things, I could move things, but I couldn't run a mile.
Okay.
And I was able to get with a group of people who were saying, okay, this is what you're doing wrong. This is what you need to do.
What were your fitness goals when you started?
It was for my mental well-being.
Okay.
Because I knew that personally I was going crazy, staying at home, stir crazy as a mom. And for me to be sane and be happy for my kids, I needed to have fitness in my life.
Now, I've known you for quite some time. It seems like you've lost some weight.
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, a few times.
But
now.
that's a secondary thing.
Yes.
Well, you've had some kids in the.
I have had a few kids. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you can't. It's not really physiologically possible to retain. To not gain some weight with some kids.
Yeah. Some people do, but not me.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was able to lose. I guess I lost about 100 pounds total from the time I started working out until.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was about 250 for a while.
Really?
Yeah, I was a big girl, and a lot of fun.
I saw a picture of you when you were about 250 on your Facebook.
Yeah.
Shallon and I were talking about that a couple weeks ago. She was 250? No way. When she was looking through your Facebook, we found a picture of you.
So I started working out relatively recently at the same gym that you do. You've kind of got me into it. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a couple of years, and I find that to be sufficient as far as sort of dealing with the mental health issues, that kind of thing. But I wanted to, there's just a little bit of weight that I can't take off, and working out is more efficient than the other things. So, there's a reason that we've had millennia, centuries, decades at the very least to really make working out efficient, and you can do it pretty efficiently. As a matter of fact, I've been working with the personal trainer that's there at the gym. She owns the place and that kind of thing. She does 25 minutes with my wife and I, and we're seeing benefits from 25-minute workouts.
Once a week, right?
I would have never guessed that. I was used to doing 3 times a week, and 3, 4, 5 times a week, and doing an hour and a half.
Yep.
Every single time. And she's like, well, you can do that, especially when you're a male in your 20s. But really those sort of routines are for people who are trying to get into competitions and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, I did learn it from Muscle and Fitness magazine, and I was reading the workouts of these big weightlifter guys. And I was doing the stuff that those guys were doing, but I wasn't the size those guys were. I could never quite understand. And turns out it's, freaking human growth hormone and steroids. Yes. That's the difference. Anyway, what are these I mean, are they seeing any benefits to this? Are they, done any kind of studies?
Well, the general attitude of medicine is that you treat the primary problem first, and exercise was never considered to be a life or death treatment option.
Yeah.
Now that we know it's so effective, it can become as fundamental as a pharmacological intervention, explains Thomasai, a lecturer at the University of Vermont. Psychotherapist in inpatient psychiatry, group therapist at the University of Vermont Medical Center, and lead researcher of the study. Practitioners at inpatient psychiatric facilities often crowded acute settings in which patients experience severe distress and discomfort typically prescribe psychotropic medications first.
Sure, what else would they do?
Well, rather than the natural remedies like physical exercise.
Yeah.
To alleviate patients' symptoms such as anger, anxiety, and depression.
I also think that the institutional food they're likely getting is a bit of a problem, too. If they were getting more vegetables and less junk,
Oh, the things that you eat have a huge impact on how you feel and your
How
hormones.
can they not?
And everything.
Right.
And if you want to move, you have to be able to fuel your body correctly.
Right. And so, taking off those few extra pounds really makes a difference as far as how you feel when you're doing these exercises too. It's a lot easier. It's just a pattern that you create for yourself. And if you don't want to be the inpatient guy, maybe as an outpatient guy, you should be, solving these problems ahead of time is what I'm thinking. And again, I'm of the stance that everybody's dealing with mental health issues all the time.
On some level.
Right. On some level.
Mm-hmm.
So we should all be exercising a certain amount per week. And you got to figure out what that is for you. There's probably better places to figure it out than coming from me. Angie, any ideas? Like 3 times a week?
Well, you don't even have to go with 3 times a week. You can really do it. You can start with once because it's a commitment. You have to be able to go and stick with it. And if you go once, then you're going to want to go twice. You're going to say, okay, that made me feel really good. I feel really strong. I'm going to make better choices. So you're going to go again.
Couldn't you go out and walk 3 miles?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know what it's like. Not everybody has the same physical abilities, but for 3 miles is something I could have done at any point. I'm 48. At any point in my life, I could go out and walk 3 miles if I wanted to.
Yes, and you don't have to walk 3 miles. You could walk a mile. You could start just small. Walk around the block with your dog.
Yeah.
Just anything to get off the couch and move. You're going to feel better.
Yeah, I think that anything that you do is going to be beneficial, and apparently now, finally, some doctors are beginning to see that that's the case. I think that exercise and a good diet is probably where they need to be starting rather than ending. One of the reasons I don't like socialized medicine, by the way, is that people are going to make the decisions they're going to make. I'm not here to tell you that you have to work out, and I'm not here to tell you that you have to eat, X number of vegetables per day. I think you should, but I shouldn't have to pay for your medical treatment if you determine that the way you want to live your life is cigarette smoking and couch surfing and Frito eating. I do love a good Frito. Everything's fine as long as you take it in moderation. But I mean, if you could live the life you want to live. It's just you should have to pay for it. I shouldn't have to pay for those treatments, and it's not fair.
I really like stacking wood, splitting firewood and stacking hay. This fall, I went on a honeymoon cruise, and I was gone for about 10 days. I literally did nothing but hang out on the beaches and eat for 10 days.
Eat anytime you want at the ship's cafe.
And we did ride the bicycle a lot. You'd think, but I just couldn't wait to get home and split wood. And I have a wood splitter, and I love splitting wood by hand. I like getting a workout, just getting full of sweat and getting your blood pumping. Especially when it's really cold, I look forward to doing that. And I find that's like working out for some people.
Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
You love Bitcoin. It's the future, right? Well, no, not if everyone stops using it. I mean, think about it. How many places in your town take Bitcoin? 1? None? Let's be real. If this Bitcoin thing is ever going to happen, it's going to need your help. The good news is, the guys at AnyPay have your back. We built a website called HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com. And it's a place you can send any business. And they'll be set up to take Bitcoin in 5 minutes. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com.
If you feel you've been lied to, pressured, or misled into buying your timeshare, you have the right to cancel completely. This is Steve Sanchez, and I'd like to introduce you to Wesley Financial Group, the leading top-rated timeshare cancellation company in the country. That's right, no more excessive fees or lifetime commitments that make you feel like you're serving a prison sentence. Founded by CEO Chuck McDowell, a pioneer in the industry who went into federal court and won against the largest timeshare resort company in the world just to help you get out of your timeshare. Too good to be true? No. Countless testimonials and the highest ratings from the Better Business Bureau make Wesley Financial Group the real deal, and their money-back guarantee they put in writing makes them the Steve Sanchez choice for successfully canceling your timeshare guaranteed. To get their free information kit, call 1-800-475-1919. That's 1-800-475-1919, or visit them at timesharecancellations.com. That's 1-800-475-1919.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
All right, it's another edition of the Edgington Post Show. I am Mark Edge, coming to you here for Free Talk Live. And today I've got with me Bob Barr, one-time presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party and soon-to-be speaker at Freedom Fest. You can go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. Bob, I had the opportunity to get an interview with you, and I certainly am not going to pass it up. Can you, and I know that you're going to be, I guess you're going to be talking about perhaps the whole impeachment thing and people who want to get Trump out of office, and I just want to get some of your thoughts on that.
Thank you, Mark. Well, it's been over 20 years now since we impeached President Clinton.
Yep.
And since the Senate refused to convict him. So I suppose the Democrats, who now control majority in the House of Representatives, determine it's payback time. So impeachment, whether they say it's on their agenda or not, is on their agenda. And I think it'll remain on their agenda through the 2020 election.
Yeah, I can't imagine that they're going to be, just sitting around not thinking about it. I mean, if it's not the goal of any one particular Democrat in the House, and I'm sure it's the goal of several of them, but if it's not the goal of anyone in particular, then it is certainly the goal of many of the people that I see wandering around on Facebook, calling for impeachment over, I don't know, a used candy wrapper, whatever it is that they can find.
It's an unusual situation in the House with the majority, Mark. You have a very diverse group, shall we say. You have establishment Democrats like Steny Hoyer and Nancy Pelosi, who are at least appear to be controlling the levers of power for the majority. And then on the other end of that spectrum, you have a bunch of really far out, primarily freshmen, who are pulling the Democratic Party off that cliff. And there's really nothing of substance that these two edges can agree on. Therefore, nothing of substance is on the agenda for the House Democrats, and the only thing they can agree on appears to be that they hate Trump, and so that becomes the de facto agenda, going after Trump, because it's the only thing they can all agree on.
This is kind of the problem that's been going on with the Republicans to some extent for a period of time, right? I mean, they call the Tea Partiers, far fringers who won't compromise and that kind of thing. And now the Democrats are basically, we're seeing the pendulum swing of it all, and they're dealing with something similar. Not a lot happened when we had a Republican Senate, a Republican House, and a Republican in the White House here under Trump. Trump's kind of his own party, right?
It's unusual on both sides. You're correct. I mean, I would have liked to have seen a lot more of substance being done the last 2 years when the Republicans, as you know, had control of the House and the Senate and the White House, but they just could not move forward with very much of substance. Now the Democrats are feeling that same heat, dealing with the same problem, except it seems to be worse for them even than it was for the Republicans.
So, I mean, when one of the things that I often say is I like it when these people are gridlocked. So, what do you think could have been done that would have been positive? And I'd just like to hear that for the audience.
Well, first of all, to have taken seriously the oft-repeated Republican vows for fiscal conservatism.
That'd be fun.
To actually have cut spending somewhere, somehow, and yet not only have we seen no spending cuts, but the spending is increasing. So that first and foremost is what I would like to have seen when the Republicans had control of all three of these instruments of power, the House, the Senate, and the White House. But we didn't. Unfortunately, because of largely the rules in the Senate and the fact that senators are more concerned with process than substance, even in the best of times, we never were able to have any serious cuts taken against the Obamacare in terms of doing away with it. That one vote, where McCain came onto the floor late and voted with Chuck Schumer, and then they congratulated each other, really seemed to take the steam out of the Republican agenda for the next year and a half.
Well, that sounds like important news items coming in. That was about the only opportunity for something to get done, and it didn't. Right, like they had every opportunity to do something there and to see the this Obamacare cut, which so many people dislike for whatever reasons they dislike it, and they dislike it for a variety of them, but. I mean, even during the Bush administration, when I think it was 6 years at that point, Republican House, Republican Senate, and Republican White House, that, their spending didn't get cut then either. There was the ramp up to all the wars and, the costs that went into that. And there were some tax cuts like we've seen under Trump. Republicans seem to like to cut the taxes, which is great, but you got to cut the spending at the same time.
Sooner or later, as we say in the South, it comes a cropper, and you can only cut taxes and help the economy so far if you simply refuse to cut spending year after year after year after year. Those tax cuts, they can't carry the whole burden, I'm afraid.
Have you seen any plans for cutting spending that would be workable and difficult to, or not so difficult to implement? Last night I had on the air a former Green Beret who was talking about what they called a spending exercise that they did in the military. And his claim was that this happens across the board in the military, but he could only really speak to what it was like when he was in the military for 10 years. And they would go out at the end of the year, into the fiscal year, and I'm not sure when that was. I meant to ask that question, never did get to it. And they would just shoot up ammunition. Just fire it off. And he said that in many cases, they weren't even, you wouldn't even call it practicing. It was just like expending rounds. And his claim was that this goes on in the military all across the place. Are there ways to cut costs? It would seem like they just had too much ammunition or whatever, if that was what was going on there.
That's a basic problem with federal spending, not just in the military, but in other departments as well. If you don't use the money that's been appropriated to your department by the end of the fiscal year, then the theory is that you didn't need that much money in the first place, or we're going to cut you back because you already have some left over. That's actually not a bad idea. But the response to that philosophy in Washington and among these departments, including the military, is, good heavens, we can't have our budget for next year cut back because we have some left over, so we better spend it all before the year ends. That is a fundamental problem with our federal government, both civilian as well as military. And so long as that mindset prevails, and so long as Congress does not demand change, it's going to continue on its merry way.
Do you see any pathway to compromise between the two sides here? And there's actually two sides is being very optimistic. There's many sides to this. There's sort of the Trump side. There's the mainline Republican side. There's the Tea Party side. There's the highly leftist side. There's the sort of mainline Democrat side. So you're sort of like bringing all these people together. Do you see some way to bring all these folks together? Is that going to happen this season? Is it going to be years from now? Do you have any ideas on this?
The only thing, unfortunately, Mark, that I see that's likely to bring at least many of these sides together is infrastructure spending. They seem all to agree to one degree or another that we have to dramatically increase federal spending on infrastructure. So we're going in exactly the wrong direction when it comes to getting everybody together in a room and agreeing on something.
It seems like you might be able to get some of the Republicans to agree on some kind of impeachment process for Trump. Certainly, most of the Democrats seem to see a path for that. Do you think this is coming down the pike? It doesn't seem like it's going to be on the Mueller investigation.
The Democrats, of course, have the votes in the House to impeach. It takes just a bare majority. 218 votes is all it takes.
Before you go on with that, Bob, if you'll just hold on for a second here, we're going to take this on into the podcast. Just go to the archives at archives.freetalklive.com and search Bob Barr, B-A-R-R. And get your tickets to Freedom Fest at freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTL50 to save $50. freedomfest.com/FTL.
Warning. Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,274, silver at $14.43, and Bitcoin is trading around $7,910. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, as the economy frays, companies close retail stores, others lay off workers, and Americans are going further into debt. In fact, the United States household debt has now reached all-time record highs. Activist Post reports that according to the Federal Reserve's quarterly report on household debt and credit, household debt increased for the 19th consecutive quarter to $13.67 trillion. The increase in debt was boosted by increases in mortgage, auto, and student loan balances. U.S. household debt has hit yet another all-time high, with about $97 trillion in housing debt and about $4 trillion in non-housing debt. The news comes as the auto industry is showing major signs of economic distress. Auto loan delinquencies, which millennials in particular have been struggling with, also rose slightly. Ford has announced layoffs, and unsold cars are sitting in the parking lots of what used to be vibrant and bustling retail establishments. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Some 500 Nusra Front militants, accompanied by 7 tanks and about 30 pickup trucks armed with mounted heavy machine guns, launched 3 major offensives against government troops in Idlib province on Wednesday, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. The Mind Unleashed reports the counterattack focused on the town of Kafr Nabada, which was recently captured by the Syrian government. Militants also launched a missile attack on a Russian air base on Wednesday, but 9 of the missiles were shot down and another 8 did not reach their target. Northwest Syria, which runs along Syria's border with Turkey, is home to the last remaining rebel strongholds, including a swath of land dominated by the al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front, which has adopted a new name, Tahrir al-Sham. The increase in shelling in the region has led to the displacement of 180,000 people. A far-right Venezuelan opposition activist emailed a death threat to human rights activists from the peace group Code Pink. Midpress News reports the threat was delivered when Code Pink was helping to protect the Venezuelan government's embassy in Washington, D.C. from an illegal takeover by Juan Guaido's U.S.-backed coup administration. The rapid opposition activist, who is also a staunch supporter of Donald Trump, previously served as a machine gunner for the U.S. Marine Corps and was in the U.S. military reserves until this March. He was also on the Colombia-Venezuelan border with violent opposition activists, working with an ostensible aid group run by coup leader Juan Guaido during a failed U.S.-backed push in February. On May 2nd, Luis Medina sent Code Pink an email with the subject line, quote, warning some Venezuelans may do something, end quote. In the message, the opposition fanatic identified as a Venezuelan-born U.S. Marine veteran. Support for the Liberty